Okay, so have you ever had these massive dreams, this incredible ambition, but then you find yourself just stuck? You can't even seem to take that first step. It's such a frustrating place to be. Well, today we're going to unlock a really powerful lesson from feudal Japan that tackles this exact problem. Let's get into it.
So does this sound familiar? You've got the vision, right? The desire to do something great. But when it's actually time to do the work, something just stops you. Look, you're not alone in this. This is a struggle as old as time, and believe it or not, the samurai had a surprisingly modern way of thinking about it.
All right, so our journey here starts with a story. It's a story that really highlights this universal pitfall. We're going to call it the dreamer's trap. And it's all about a young man whose greatest strength, his own ambition, well, it accidentally became his greatest weakness.
So, meet Yuki. This guy wanted to be the most legendary warrior in the entire land. I mean, he spent his days reading about famous battles, mapping out his future victories, and talking a big game about everything he was going to do. He honestly believed that his powerful ambition was all he'd ever need. But when the sun came up and it was time to actually train, Yuki always, and I mean always, had an excuse.
And this is where we see the real cost, because inaction, it compounds, and it compounds fast. In year 1, Yuki's just planning. No big deal. But by year 5, the gap is huge. Other warriors who just started, they're now way better than him. And by year 10, well, his dreams have just curdled into regret. And that's the thing about time, right? Once it's gone, you can't get it back.
So here's the painful truth of it all. Yuki's dreams, they became a trap. His own mind was giving him this little dopamine hit for imagining success, which made the actual, tough, uncomfortable work of training feel totally unnecessary. So his ambition wasn't pushing him forward at all, it was actually making him weaker by creating this cozy little illusion of progress.
Okay, so this whole story brings us to a really core misunderstanding that, let's be honest, most of us have about what it takes to get things done. We're about to dismantle a super common, but also super flawed idea, what I like to call the myth of motivation. You see, we tend to believe that we need to feel motivated before we can act, right? But the samurai, guys like the legendary swordsman Miyamoto Musashi, they knew the exact opposite was true. Action has to come first. That feeling of motivation, that's a result, not a cause. It's like the flame that comes after you strike the match.
And the wisdom here is just so powerful. Think about it. If you wait for the perfect moment, for that perfect feeling of inspiration, you might never actually start. In the meantime, all the other people who were willing to just get going, even when it wasn't perfect, they're already miles ahead. Waiting isn't preparation, it's just procrastination in a clever disguise.
So the real takeaway is this: consistency crushes intensity. The people who actually achieve great things, they aren't superhuman. They don't wake up feeling inspired every single day. No way. They are simply the ones who show up and do the work, especially on the days they really don't feel like it.
All right, so if we can't just wait around for motivation to strike, then what's the alternative? Well, the answer is a really practical, totally actionable philosophy. It's known as the way of small improvements.
And the answer lies in this one powerful Japanese concept, Kaizen. Basically, it's the principle that true mastery isn't some giant leap you take. Nope, it's built through small, almost insignificant daily actions. Like the samurai used to say, you climb the mountain one step at a time, not by staring at the top.
And here's how simple the process is. The absolute key is step 1, you choose one action that is so insignificant it feels almost ridiculous. Seriously, something so small you just can't say no to it. The goal here isn't to change your life overnight. It's just to build a little bit of momentum. Because action creates momentum, and that momentum creates the energy that we often mistake for motivation.
Okay, let's make this super concrete. Picture a young student who decides he's going to practice just one single sword movement every single morning. That's it. His friends might even laugh, It seems like such a tiny, useless effort. But he does it every day, no matter what.
So what happens? Well, over a few months, that one little movement becomes second nature. His body gets stronger, his technique gets sharper, and his discipline gets way deeper. He's built the solid foundation that lets him learn more complex skills with ease, while his friends, the ones who waited for a big burst of inspiration, they're still standing at the starting line. That is the power of Kaizen.
So, all of this brings us to our final and maybe most crucial principle. It's about making a fundamental shift in our focus, away from how we feel and toward what we do.
This quote from the legendary samurai teacher Yagyu Munanori just says it all.
The sword that waits for perfect conditions never leaves its sheath. I mean, how powerful is that? If you're always waiting for the right moment, you're going to be waiting forever. Readiness isn't something you wait for, it's something you create by taking action.
So let's be really clear about this. True strength, true discipline, it has nothing to do with feeling strong or motivated all the time. It's the ability to act even when you're tired, uninspired, or even a little scared. It's about moving through the resistance, not trying to go around it. That right there is the definition of real strength.
And in the end, it really just comes down to a choice. Are you going to let your future be controlled by your feelings, which are, let's face it, fleeting and totally unreliable? Or are you going to build it on the rock-solid foundation of your commitments? True strength is being able to say, I am going to do this, whether you happen to feel like it in the moment or not.
So I want to leave you with this one question. Just for a second, forget about the grand plan. Forget about waiting for motivation to show up. What is the one tiny, almost insignificant action that you can commit to doing tomorrow? Because I promise you, that one small step holds way more power than the grandest dream you can imagine.